Earl Simmons, known by his stage name DMX, was an American rapper, songwriter, and actor. He began rapping in the early 1990s and released his debut album It's Dark and Hell Is Hot in 1998, to both critical acclaim and commercial success, selling 251,000 copies within its first week of release. He released his best-selling album, And Then There Was X, in 1999, which included the hit single Party Up. His 2003 singles were The Hood At and X Gon Give It to You were also some of his most popular. DMX was featured in films such as Belly, Romeo Must Die, Exit Wounds, Cradle to the Grave, and Last Hour. In 2006, he starred in the reality television series DMX, Soul of a Man, which was primarily aired on the BET cable television network. In 2003, he published a book of his memoirs entitled E.A.R.L, The Autobiography of DMX. Early life. Earl Simmons was born in Mount Vernon, New York, on December 18, 1970, the son of 19-year-old Arnett Simmons and 18-year-old Joe Barker, and was raised in nearby Yonkers. Earl was the second child of Arnett, who had given birth to a daughter, Bonita, 2 years prior, as well as one daughter, Shayla, and two stillborn sons after Earl. Barker did not want Simmons to keep custody of Earl and cut off almost all contact with the family as soon as Earl was born. As a child, Simmons suffered greatly from bronchial asthma, being taken to the emergency room almost nightly due to him waking up unable to breathe. He was raised as one of Jehovah's Witnesses but became disillusioned with the faith after his mother rejected a possible settlement stemming from an incident where he was hit by a drunk driver while crossing the street and in which he suffered minor injuries. A while after the incident, a representative of the insurance company representing the driver who had hit him went to his house to try to reach an agreement with his family so that they would not sue. He claims his family could have received as much as $10,000 from the legal settlement but that his mother refused to open a case as she claimed the faith taught them to be self-sufficient. Simmons went through a disjointed childhood that included being beaten by his mother and her various boyfriends so badly that he lost teeth and sustained numerous bruises and cuts on his face. When Simmons was 5 years old, his family settled in Yonkers, New York. At the end of the 5th grade, Simmons was kicked out of school and sent to the Julia Dickman Andrews Children's Home for 18 months. When he was 14, Simmons began wandering the streets of Yonkers to escape his mother's abuse and eventually found comfort in befriending stray dogs that walked the streets at night. Shortly after he began doing this, his mother once again sent him to a boys' home. During his stay at the boys' home, Simmons bonded with other students from New York over their shared love of hip-hop music. After performing for his friends, they encouraged Simmons to continue writing music at the behest of his teacher. When he returned home, Simmons met Ready Ron, a local rapper, who, impressed with Simmons' beatboxing skills, asked him to become his partner. Simmons chose the name DMX, which came from an instrument he had used at the boys' home, the Oberheim DMX drum machine. It later was also interpreted as Dark Man X. Musical career. DMX got his start in the music industry in 1984, when he would beatbox for a local rapper named Ready Ron. After serving time in prison, he began writing his own lyrics and would perform at the local rec center for younger children. After going to prison again in 1988, he began taking rapping more seriously, dedicating almost all of his free time to writing lyrics and also meeting and rapping with K-Solo while incarcerated. When DMX was released that summer, he began producing and selling his own mixtapes where he would rap over instrumentals from other songs and sell them on street corners, which helped him build a local fan base all over New York. In 1991, The Source magazine praised DMX in its unsigned hype column that highlighted unsigned hip-hop artists. In 1992, Columbia Records signed DMX to their subsidiary label Rough House, which released his debut single Born Loser. He released his second single, Make a Move, in 1994, and made a guest appearance alongside Jay-Z, Ja Rule, and Mike Geronimo on the classic underground track Time to Build on Mike Geronimo's debut album in 1995. DMX recorded tracks from September 1996 to January 1998, for what would be his debut album. During this time, his guest spot appearances on Mace's singles 24 Hours, To Live and Take What's Yours, The Lox' single Money, Power and Respect, and LL Cool J's single 4, 3, 2, 1 created a strong buzz for the then unsigned rapper. In February 1998, DMX released his debut major label single, Get At Me Dog, on Def Jam. The single was certified gold by the RIAA. His first major label album, It's Dark and Hell is Hot, which included the single Rough Riders Anthem, was then released in May 1998. The album debuted at number 1 on the Billboard 200 chart in the US and sold over 5 million copies. Later that year, in December, DMX released his second album, Flesh of My Flesh, Blood of My Blood. It debuted at number 1 on the Billboard 200 and went multi-platinum. DMX released his third and best-selling album, And Then There Was X, on December 21, 1999. It was his third album to debut at number 1 on the Billboard 200. Its most popular single, Party Up, became his first top 10 hit on the R&B charts. The album was certified 6 times platinum. In 2000, DMX also made a cameo appearance in the Sum 41 music video for Makes No Difference. Legal troubles and return to music. After improving his legal situation, DMX returned to the studio to complete his fourth album, The Great Depression. Released October 23, 2001, it was his fourth album to debut at number 1 on the Billboard 200, featuring the singles Who We Be, We Right Here, and Shorty Was the Bomb. Despite the album's triple platinum certification, its commercial and critical success was lower than his previous album. His fifth album, Grand Champ, once again debuted at number 1 on the Billboard 200 charts, placing DMX as the only musical artist in history to release 5 consecutive albums that debuted at number 1. Singles include Where the Hood At and Get It on the Floor. After its release, he informed the public that he planned to retire and that Grand Champ would be his final album. DMX signed to Columbia Records in January 2006. He recorded his next album, Year of the Dog, again, while switching record labels, which caused numerous delays. It was finally released on August 1, 2006, and missed the number 1 Billboard spot by only a few hundred copies. He released 2 more singles, Lord Give Me a Sign and We In Here. On June 12, 2008, Def Jam released a compilation of his greatest hits, The Definition of X, The Pick of the Letter. Def Jam released another compilation album, The Best of DMX, in 2011, which features hit singles including Where the Hood At and X Gon Give It to Ya. In 2009, DMX claimed he would pursue preaching in Jersey City, New Jersey, but will also continue to produce music. He completed a gospel album prior to his incarceration. According to MTV, he had semi-retired to study the Bible more in an effort to give messages behind the pulpit. On October 11, 2011, DMX performed at the 2011 BET Hip Hop Awards. He stated that he has been working non-stop, every day on his 7th album, which was later titled Undisputed. A video for a new track entitled Last Hope was released via the internet on September 24, 2011, and was later included on the Way an EP released digitally on May 5, 2012. In late February 2012, 7 Arts Entertainment Incorporated acquired United Music Media Group's music assets, and signed DMX to a 2-album deal. During a performance at New York Santos Party House on December 25, 2011, DMX stated that the new album will be entitled Undisputed and would be released on March 26, 2012. After numerous delays, the album was eventually released on September 11, 2012, and featured production from Swizz Beatz and J.R. Rodham with a guest appearance by MGK. In 2013, DMX announced he had begun working on his 8th studio album. He has been seen collaborating with producers Swizz Beatz and Dane Grease. In December, after regaining his passport, he embarked on a world tour with performances in Bulgaria and Kosovo. On January 7, 2015, it was announced by DMX's label 7 Arts Music that DMX would be releasing a new album next week entitled Redemption of the Beast, but later during the day close personal friend and recurring collaborator producer/rapper/entrepreneur Swizz Beatz confirmed that this was false. DMX's management would also confirm it was false as well. On January 13, 2015, 7 Arts Music released Redemption of the Beast, without acquiring the legal artist contract. On January 15, 2015, it was announced by DMX's brother/manager Montana that DMX was no longer signed to 7 Arts Music and that they would be taking legal action against 7 Arts Music for the unauthorized release of Redemption of the Beast, stating, 7 Arts Entertainment had no right to put out a new album. The only contract DMX had was for Undisputed, and that came out 2 years ago. He won't have a contract with them to release another album. You can't just put somebody's album out without permission. X only had a contract with them for 1 album, and that album already came out a long time ago. If they wanted to come out with another album, they had to come to the table. That's why we sent a cease and desist letter. Some of the songs are from the Undisputed album, and there are 3 extra songs that he recorded that were not on the Undisputed album that they just put on that album. That's what they did. We don't even know where he got that picture on the cover from. On September 20, 2019, it was officially announced that DMX had signed a new record deal with Def Jam, reuniting with the label for the first time since his 2003 album Grand Champ. Personal life. DMX was a Christian, and stated that he read the Bible every day. While in prison, DMX stated that he had a purpose for being there. I came here to meet somebody, don't know who it was, but I'll know when I see him. And I came here to give him a message. And that message is Jesus loves them. DMX was a transitional deacon in the Christian church and aspired to become ordained as a pastor, stating that he received this call in 2012. DMX was the father of 15 children. He married his childhood friend R.I.P. Simmons in 1999, and they were married for 15 years. They had 4 children together. In July 2010, after his first of 3 incarcerations that year, R.I.P. announced their separation. DMX maintained that the two remain friends. His 15th child, Exodus Simmons, was born to his girlfriend, Desiree Lindstrom, on August 16, 2016. DMX had multiple extramarital affairs during his marriage to Simmons, some of which produced children. DNA testing confirmed that he was the father of at least 2 children. The first was born to Maryland resident Monique Wayne in 2004, the second to a different woman in late 2008. DMX and Wayne fought over her claim that he was the father of her son for years, during which she had sued him repeatedly for defamation of character, and for child support. After DNA testing proved DMX fathered Wayne's son in 2007, he was ordered to pay her $1.5 million. On July 30, 2013, DMX filed for Chapter 11 bankruptcy, citing his child support obligations as his priority claim. The filing was challenged by the Department of Justice's Bankruptcy Watchdog Trustee Program, and was later dismissed by the U.S. Bankruptcy Court in Manhattan on November 11, 2013. Feud with Ja Rule. During the 1990s, DMX formed a close bond with fellow up-and-coming rappers Jay-Z and Ja Rule. The 3 collaborated many times and formed a group known as Murder Incorporated. The group was short-lived due to internal issues between DMX and Jay-Z. After the breakup of Murder Incorporated, DMX disparaged Ja Rule in interviews, accusing him of being a copycat, drawing comparisons between himself and what he saw as Ja stealing his signature gruff style of delivery. DMX released a diss track, They Want War, on a 2002 DJ K-Slay mixtape. Ja Rule would never directly respond. As time passed and the feud faded into obscurity, DMX said that he wanted to officially bring it to an end when he was released from prison in 2005. Gotti came to me in jail and said, I want to make peace with you and him. I was like, alright Gotti, let's do it. Despite this, DMX and Ja Rule would not officially end their feud until 2009, at VH1's Hip Hop Honors. Health issues. DMX had spoken openly about his addiction to crack cocaine, which began when he was 14 years old after he smoked a marijuana cigarette laced with the drug. He also said that he had bipolar disorder. On February 10, 2016, DMX was found unresponsive in a Ramada Inn parking lot in Yonkers. He was resuscitated by first responders and given Narcan before being rushed to the hospital. A witness said he ingested some type of substance before collapsing, but police found no illegal substances on the property. DMX stated that it was from an asthma attack. Legal issues. DMX's June 2008 mugshot. DMX was first sent to prison in 1986 after stealing a dog from a junkyard. He was sentenced to 2 years in the juvenile unit of Woodfield Prison in Valhalla, New York. However, just weeks after starting his sentence, he and his cellmate successfully escaped the prison, and DMX returned home to New York until his mother forced him to turn himself in and finish his sentence, which he did at the McCormick Juvenile Detention Center in Brooktondale, New York. Simmons was sent to prison again in 1988 for carjacking, and was later moved to a higher security prison after attempting to extort a fellow inmate for drugs. He was released in the summer of 1988. Following his emergence as a public figure, DMX's multiple arrests were for various offenses including resisting arrest, animal cruelty, reckless driving, unlicensed driving, drug possession, and identity falsification. 1998 to 1999. When officers of the Fort Lee Police Department executed a search of his home in 1999, DMX promptly surrendered himself on weapons possession charges. DMX faced a 1999 animal cruelty charge in Teaneck, New Jersey after a dozen pit bulls were found at his home there. The charge was dismissed after the performer agreed to accept responsibility and record public service announcements for an animal rights group. In July 2017, DMX was charged with 14 federal counts of tax fraud. Federal prosecutors charged him with failing to file income tax returns from 2010 to 2015. DMX pleaded guilty to a single count of tax fraud in November 2017. DMX was originally free pending sentencing but was remanded to jail in January 2018 after leaving a drug treatment program ordered by the court and relapsing with cocaine and oxycodone. In March 2018, Judge Jid S. Rakoff sentenced DMX to 1 year in prison followed by 3 years of supervised release. The court also ordered DMX to pay $2.29 million in restitution to the government. He was released from prison on January 25, 2019. Death. On April 2, 2021, at approximately 11 p.m., Simmons was rushed to a hospital in White Plains, New York, where he was reported to be in critical condition following a heart attack at his home, possibly resulting from an overdose. The next day, his attorney, Murray Richmond, confirmed Simmons was on life support. That same night, tabloid journalism outlet TMZ, who first reported on the hospitalization, stated that Simmons had suffered oxygen deprivation to his brain as paramedics attempted to resuscitate him for 30 minutes. Simmons' former manager, Nokia Walker, said he was in a vegetative state with lung and brain failure and no current brain activity. His manager, Steve Rifkin, stated Simmons was comatose and that he was set to undergo tests to determine his brain's functionality, which would allow his family to determine what's best from there. On April 9, 2021, Simmons had reportedly lost functionality in multiple essential organs, including his lungs. Simmons was pronounced dead later that day, aged 50.